So, what is lighting control? Lighting control can be loosely defined as your ability to sort of manipulate the lights around your home to either improve the aesthetics or to sort of conserve energy, etc. Why do a lot of people go for lighting control? So, one of the major advantages of lighting control is the fact that you can actually conserve energy. And by conserve energy, now what do I mean by that? Let's say it's a large living space and you have floor to ceiling windows. It's a large open space, there's a lot of natural light that flows in. So, what lighting control gives you the ability to do is essentially dim the lights in that space based on the lux levels of the natural light that's coming in. So let's say it's a bright sunny day, it's around 3 p.m. in the afternoon. If your lighting control system can sense the lux level, so the lux level is essentially an indicator of the number of photons present or emitted by a given light source. So let's say it's a bright sunny day, it's about 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Your lighting sensor will actually sense the lux levels in the room, and it will adjust the brightness and intensity of the lights in the inside space accordingly. If it's a very bright day, then perhaps you don't need any lighting indoors. If it's a muggy day, etc., especially let's say if you're from the UK, then the lighting control system will recognize, hey, the lux levels inside are quite low compared to like the standard. So let's switch on some lights. Let's increase the brightness. So and all of this happens automatically. You don't have to do anything. So in this way, you can conserve a lot of energy because the lights don't need to be switched on, let's say, around the clock. They only come on when there is a deficiency of natural light coming in. So obviously in the evenings and nighttime they're going to be switched on, but not really during the day. This is an amazing feature, especially for offices, because if you have an office which has a lot of natural light coming in, then you don't need to really switch on all your lights. Maybe you can have a couple of lights in the corners, etc. But most of your lighting can be automatically dimmed and controlled via these lux sensors, etc., which are placed all around the space. The second advantage of lighting control is this has been one of my favorite sales techniques. I would just customer would be like, why do I want lighting control? It's just a normal switch. I'll just switch it on from here and there. I'm not spending so much money. What they fail to realize is good, well-designed lighting and a very appropriate lighting control system, when they're paired together, they can make an IKEA sofa look like $1 million. There's just the way you can manipulate the light around the house to just take that room from 0 to 100 just with the help of extremely well designed and controlled light fixtures. It's gonna change your entire perception of that room. Lighting control also helps, especially like if you have a lot of artwork. So we had this client who had this amazing collection of art, and certain art pieces in that artwork had to be illuminated at different levels of intensity. So lighting control helps you do that. So let's say you have a painting or an artwork which needs to be, depending on the artist's requirement, needs to be illuminated in a certain way, at a certain angle, at a certain time of day. That lighting control systems help you with that. They accentuate whatever existing artworks, etc., that you have, and it just like I said, just going back to my previous statement, it just changes the entire look and feel of the room. So what are the different types of lighting control? So you have a wired system, which is your traditional wired system in which you have your electrical cabling, which is going to your electrical circuits and your lights, and they are physically hardwired via either Cat6 cable or electrical cable to a lighting control panel, very similar in function to your typical switchboard which you find around the house, which helps you control your lights and your air conditioning and your fans or your curtains. That can be one approach. You typically go for a wired approach if it's like a new installation, and if it's a new house, wired systems are great, no problem. Some companies also have this option of going down the road of the system being completely wireless. So some systems are completely retrofit, so you don't need to break walls or chase chase ceilings or anything like that, you can just plug in the lighting control modules in line with the LED driver, and they speak wirelessly to their lighting control keypads. Now, the communication typically happens over proprietary RF. Sometimes it happens with frequencies which are sometimes not regulated in the country and they're being installed in, or they may interfere with other household appliances. We'll get to that in a minute. The third option of going down lighting control systems is actually a hybrid solution where it's a mix of wired and wireless. So you would have your wired system typically set up in a new installation, but let's say you have certain loose lighting fixtures like table lamps, or you've gone on holiday in Europe and you've picked up this amazing sexy table floor lamp, and you just want to add it to your system. It's already been 6 months since your lighting control system has been installed, and then you're just left scratching your head like, oh shit, how do I add this? Well, with a hybrid solution, you can have your traditional wired approach, and you can have these lighting control modules. They're essentially about double the size of an iPhone. That's the first mode of measurement that I thought of. They're about double the size of an iPhone, around E tall. You just add them in line with your lighting driver, and there you go. So you can get the best of the wired and wireless world. So typically all lighting control systems can be controlled from your smart device. They can also be controlled via on-wall devices. On-wall devices vary depending on manufacturer to manufacturer, system to system. It's very aesthetics driven, because these systems are typically installed in high-end homes, and during those installation periods, it's typically a call that the interior designer and client take together, because the interior designer has sort of an overall picture on the overall aesthetic look of the house, and the client obviously has that look which has been passed on to the interior designer, and the interior designer takes it forward to sort of execute the vision of the client. So that's why the things you see on wall are typically aesthetic driven. Now, what should you avoid when choosing a lighting control system? The number one thing that I tell all my clients is do not go for a lighting control manufacturer who does not specialize in lighting control. So there are so many brands like Control 4, Crestron, just to name a few. They are control brands, they are automation brands, they are not lighting control brands. They white label stuff which is made en masse for literally every other manufacturer. They just white label it with their label and sell it as a lighting control system. That's typically not the road that you should take. Especially with the high-end installs, you should stick to the lighting control manufacturer who actually specializes in lighting control, and you add something like a RTI or a Control 4 or a Crestron on top of that as an automation layer. So you keep the lighting control layer 1 and you keep the automation layer the second, because with automation you can also control your lights and your curtains and your air conditioning, but you can also control your AV, you can also control your security cameras, your door locks, the whole bunch. So it's better to not have the client bounce between one app and the other app, just keep them under one roof. The second sort of thing that you have to look out for when choosing a lighting control system or even executing a lighting control system is that you have to make sure that if it's a wireless system especially, you have to make sure that no household appliances, let's say wireless signals, interferes with your lighting control system. Typically most lighting control systems now have their own proprietary RF band or whatever that they work on, which sort of does not interfere with your house's, let's say, microwave signals or any other signals like that, but certain lighting control systems do, so let's be wary of that. Also, I have faced this issue, they also suffer from something known as the range effect. So if your lighting control system is working on Zigbee or any other closed protocol network, any substantial blockage between the two point to point will attenuate the signal. So just be mindful that if you are installing something like a Zigbee protocol for lighting control, just make sure that line of sight is maintained, else you're going to have a lot of trouble where you just be like on the wall, you're just pressing the button or on your phone and nothing's happening, because well, the signal can't cross from point A to point B because there's something in the middle. So just be careful of that. Another very important factor is always keep documentation handy. So let's say you've had a lighting control designer and a lighting control dealer come in, commission your house, always ask for the documentation, because it keeps the contractor honest, and it also sort of safeguards you against any surprises. Because let's say a year or two down the line you weren't happy with the contractor's service, you can always ask someone else to come on board, and just hand over the document. So they don't spend time trying to figure out your house. Everything's there handy. They have all the source code. They know where what is connected. So when an issue arises, they can easily diagnose the issue and just fix it, instead of you finding them hunched over their laptop, just scratching their head trying to figure out like A from B. So yeah, and that's today's topic for lighting control. I've tried to keep it very sort of surface level, not gone into too much technical depth, but let me know if you'd like me to cover any more topics or anything related to hi-fi, CI, smart homes, home cinemas. Let me know. Leave your comments in the comment section. I'll see you soon. Cheers.